Tonight in California, they're still counting votes nearly a week after Election Day. In the LA mayor's race, former reality TV star Spencer Pratt now overtaken for second place by progressive city councilwoman Nithya Raman, who appears poised to face Democratic Mayor Karen Bass in the fall runoff. We spoke to Bass tonight.
And is this now a two-way race between you and the city councilwoman?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we will wait to see. It certainly looks that way.
Pratt, the Republican political outsider who ran after losing his home in the Palisades fire and surged late with viral ads railing against the city's leadership.
This is where I live. They let my home burn down.
President Trump now raising unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud with NBC's Kristen Welker.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
After nearly an hour, including delays for rain, the president ending the interview during a back and forth about election integrity.
But now let's turn back to California, where ballots are still being counted across multiple races, including the race for Los Angeles mayor. And even though ballots are still being counted there, enough of the vote has already come in to determine that incumbent Mayor Karen Bass and City Council member Nithya Raman are headed to a runoff. Raman overtook reality star turned wannabe politician Spencer Pratt for second place on Sunday, and the gap between them has been widening ever since. As for Spencer Pratt, he's clearly taken it well, I guess.
Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of The Conservative Libertarian. All right, guys, we are back with another one, man. Yes, sir. Today, we're going to be watching the Joe Rogan Experience. He had JD Vance on, and I want to get into this specific segment of the Joe Rogan Experience where JD Vance and them and Joe are going to talk about the elections going on, around the states and, specifically the elections going on in California. I'm pretty sure everyone was, if you weren't in tuned into the election, Spencer Pratt and, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman were going at it for the top dogs, and it's ranked choice voting, so it's whoever has the popular vote basically. And Spencer Pratt had a pretty good lead going into the night, but then later that evening or later that day, whenever they were continuing to count votes, the California, their elections take like weeks, what I'm saying. They have such a long deadline that votes can still be coming in weeks after the election day has already been passed. Most of her votes came in through mail-in ballots, which is another reason why we should probably get rid of mail-in ballots. It can just be riddled with fraud, and it's just probably not a good institution that we should be having. It should be only for the specific people who need it, like elderly, people who are disabled, people who can't, are on vacation or whatever the case may be, people who just can't make it to the ballot that day because of reasonable circumstances. And we should have it that way. And if you don't have any circumstances that are stopping you from coming to the ballot, you need to be there to place your vote. That's how it should be. But California doesn't see it that way. And we're going to have Joe Rogan talk about that and what he witnessed in the California, race for mayor. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah.
Why is it that large population centers, like places like Los Angeles and New York, are almost always run by the Democrats?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about? First of all, what happened with the last election in Los Angeles, the primary, I think was
crazy.
So super sus.
Yes,
and here's
is.
why it's super sus. Not just super sus that Spencer Pratt, who was in second place, got overtaken by Nithya Raman in the mail-in ballots, but that the mail-in ballots also passed a tax hike. The people voted to pay more taxes.
Yep.
In a state where you have the highest
taxes. That's right.
They're like, we don't pay enough. That is insane. Then when you have direct evidence that they were recruiting homeless people.
That's right.
And they were getting homeless people and giving them cigarettes and cash. There's evidence of this. to use their address and mail in ballots.
Yeah, I wouldn't be the Californian Joe who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to go and vote for higher taxes.
I don't
pay enough taxes.
I feel like we could fix this if I just pay
5% more taxes.
No, this is the thing though, is that they are not expecting themselves to be paying the taxes. They're expecting the top 20 to 10% of people who live in that state to be paying the taxes. That's why there's also a proposal on coming to Gavin Newsom's desk that they want, or maybe they already passed that. Maybe that's the bill that he's talking about. But they were planning on passing a bill that would it's basically a millionaire's tax, which like I said, I'm not sure if that's the bill that got passed. I'll have to go do my research on that. Passing more legislation to increase taxes on people who already pay the most taxes in the America. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. I don't think these people understand the financial stress that they're putting people who are lower middle wage classes and stuff like that. Because people be like, well, the bottom, people who are like poor middle class or just poor working class, say they don't pay that much in taxes. But if you really think about it, we are paying a substantial amount of taxes to the government, and most of it, is spent on frivolous stuff that doesn't need to happen. We shouldn't be spending billions of dollars on social programs, and we shouldn't be spending billions of dollars on a lot of things, especially like when we have like our reconciliation. Like, we need to do more fiscal responsibility. Like, I want a Democrat or a Republican to come out and like actually be speaking about fiscal responsibility. The only person that I really hear that from is like Scott Bessent, because he's a treasury, he's the he's the leader of the Treasury Department. So it's like he's very money minded, so I can respect him whenever he comes out and he talks about fiscal responsibility and trying to be hold ourselves accountable for how much we spend, because we're spending more than we can pay back. Our debt is higher than how much we spend in like a total fucking like year. It's ridiculous. We spend so much money, man. But yeah, so like I said, like the fact that they think that giving more money to the government so the government can just keep wasting your dollars it's actually amazing how liberals think in California. It's actually fascinating.
The crazy thing about it too is it's that, okay, so after the initial ballots all came in, it was Karen Bass was number one, Spencer Pratt was right behind her, and then number three, whatever this woman's name is, Nithya Raman. Okay, so you would expect the mail-in ballots to be more or less like the original ballots in terms of 1, 2, and 3. I'm not saying Spencer Pratt's going to win the mail-in ballot, but it just so happened that the third place person in relative terms did a lot better than the first and second place person.
Disproportionately better.
Such that the Republican was actually kicked out of the race, so that there's not actually a real election in California. That to me was the crazy part. It's like you were designing the vote share in order to kick Pratt out and put the third person into second place. That to me is like very, very bizarre. Because what is the theory of the mail-in vote that is somehow like so much more pro Nithya relative to Karen Bass?
Makes no sense.
And then on top of that, they got two basic they got a Democrat, and then they got a Democratic socialist, because Nithya Raman, she's definitely a part of the socialist wing. She's further to the left of Karen Bass. That's why she's running against her, because she thinks she could do a better job than Karen Bass. But it's California has a very bad issue right now. They're gonna have two Democrats which Karen Bass is a disaster. She's had so many things happen under her watch that have been disastrous. In late news, that fire that broke out in that meat complex, and now they got a bunch of flies, and it just smells terrible around that specific area. I'm just so happy I don't live in a place like California where I have to literally struggle just to get gas in my car. Imagine being a person who works like minimum wage in California, which I heard minimum wage in California did go up, but still though, you're paying like how much in gas? I think it's like $6-7 or some shit like that. Like, you guys are paying so much in gas, it's absurd. I don't even know how I would be able to fucking get to work. Fucking $10 worth of gas wouldn't get you shit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. $10 worth of gas can get me to and from the work. A $10 worth of gas in California, shit, I might just be able to get to work, but I might have to fill back up on my way to work. Hell nah. And the fact that they voted You know what I'm saying? Which, like I said, we don't know. I'm not saying that Nithya Raman for sure won, because I mean it looks like she won, but like I said, there's a lot of suspicion in the air about how she won, right? Because I heard a lot of her votes came from Skid Row, and yeah, so it's just like, yeah, California, you guys are royally fucked at the mayor level. We're gonna hope in the gubernatorial level that, you know what I'm saying, that maybe they get a Republican. With California, how they vote, they might just vote Democrat just because they don't want Republicans. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes, man. And it sucks. It sucks that they don't want to, you know, try something different. They want to keep going down the same path that hasn't been working.
Why would it be?
Yeah.
Why would it be? I mean, Karen Bass was ahead by every metric.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, so you asked the question, why do all these blue states, or why do all these big cities, population centers end up becoming blue? And I think it's like a very complicated, right? So one thing, and you said this a few months ago, and like when you said it, I was like kind of annoyed by it, but then I like thought there's like an element of truth to it, which is that Republicans still fundamentally have a cool problem, right? There's something more charismatic, more cool about the Democrats as opposed to the right.
Did I say
and
that?
So you said something about there are too many dorks or something on the right.
There's a lot of dorks.
Yeah, fair. I'd say there's a lot of dorks.
There's
on the
a lot
left,
of dorks
but
on the left too.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of dork.
It's a different kind of dork. But the point is that there's something, you know, like, okay, if you're a pop star, you're a rock star, you're an actor, you're in all these cultural centers, you're more likely to be left than right. And so I think that a lot of young people who are attracted to these population centers, they sort of move along with the prevailing culture. I think that's one thing that's going on. I think a second thing that's going on is the people who are sort of attracted to a certain kind of right of center politics. They want the suburbs, they want the single family home, they kind of want to be left alone, they don't want sort of to be able to hear what their neighbors are doing. So I think a little bit of it's just cultural self-segregation, and that's meant that a lot of these population centers have gone blue. But it's very complicated. I've thought about this a lot, and I also just, man, I'm not one of these people who says we should just abandon California to the Democrats, like let them deal with their own problems. I think California is like a quintessential part of the American dream. Like if you just abandon California, you've like lost something very core to American culture. And I don't want to give up on it. Like I'm not saying we're going to win California in my lifetime necessarily, but I don't like the idea of giving up on it.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, good sentiment. I mean, yeah, California is definitely the pinnacle of, you know, America, you know what I'm saying? It before, you know what I'm saying, really before New York. I think maybe it was New York first, but I want to say it was California first and then New York, you know what I'm saying? Because California has just been the pinnacle of where, you know, movie stars, actresses, pop stars, musicians, everybody in every sector of the cultural norm and the culture atmosphere has, you know, gravitated to, you know what I'm saying? Same way with New York, because, you know, New York has a very good, you know, acting, you know, has that like a good acting sphere around it, you know what I'm saying? They produce a lot of good actors and actresses and some good musicians from time to time as well too. So it's like there is a lot to desire from wanting to not see, you know, New York and, you know, California go down this rabbit hole of just radical liberalization where they just can't seem to like actually want to try something different. They want to keep going down this same path where it hasn't been working for the last 4 years, so we'll try it again, but with someone different and someone even further left to the person that we just had in office. It's very fascinating, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting. How much are you willing to sacrifice before enough is enough, right? You know what I'm saying? And and it happens in other states, you know what I'm saying? Pennsylvania, Michigan, and all these other, you know, states that are, you know what I'm saying, are purple, you know, they can flip blue or red, you know what I'm saying, depending on, you know, what's going on. And it's just, you know, it's I just find it destructive, you know what I'm saying? And I just wish that, you know, they would, you know, maybe try something different. But, you know, hey, California voters can choose what they want, and we gotta let them keep making their own mistakes. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But hey, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, whether or not this was an L or a W. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video if you guys are new. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.